Welcome back to Press Review. Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages in the Middle East. The Egypt Independent leads reporting that Egyptian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Badr Abdel-Ati said Egypt is closely following the escalation of protests in the US city of Ferguson, Missouri, after the death of a young man at the hands of police. The paper also reports that the chief Palestinian delegate to truce talks with Israel warned that Gaza violence could erupt anew unless progress is made towards a lasting deal ahead of a midnight deadline in Egyptian brokered talks. From the UAE, the Gulf News leads reporting that former court officials and lawyers claim that the International Criminal Court has persistently avoided opening an investigation into alleged war crimes in Gaza as a result of US and other Western pressure. The paper also reports that the spokesman for Iraq's counter-terrorism unit said that Iraqi forces are planning an assault on the northern city of Mosul, hoping to retake it from the Islamic State. From Saudi Arabia, the Arab News reports that Saudi has eased procedures for major international companies to participate in the country's vital projects in infrastructure, energy, information technology, construction, operation and maintenance. The paper also reports that Saudi Arabian Airlines has ranked first among international carriers for on-time performance in July 2014. The Daily Star leads reporting that the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said Hezbollah has killed an ISIS commander, allegedly responsible for preparing suicide bombers for attacks in Lebanon. The paper also reports that the Union Coordination Committee is to make a final decision today on whether to end its boycott of marking official exams, despite a statement by the Education Ministry saying that its decision to issue passing certificates for all students has already gone into effect. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East news from UK papers. The Telegraph leads its Middle East news reporting that a former head of the Royal Navy warned that the mission creep in Britain's fight against Islamic extremists could drag it into further military action in Iraq. The paper says Lord West of Spithead also said Britain lacked clarity of vision about its plan and that other Middle Eastern nations must be brought on board. The Independent leads its Middle East news reporting that Israeli and Palestinian officials have confirmed a 24-hour extension to the ceasefire between Israel and Gaza, which has been agreed in last-minute talks in Cairo. But the chief Palestinian delegate to truce talks with Israel warned that fresh violence could erupt unless significant progress is made towards a lasting deal. And The Guardian reports that the United Nations Refugee Agency is launching an aid operation to get supplies to more than 500,000 people displaced by fighting in northern Iraq. The paper says a 4-day airlift of tents and other goods will begin tomorrow from Aqaba in Jordan, followed by road convoys and sea shipments over the next 10 days. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East news in international papers. From China, the Global Times leads its Middle East news reporting that Kurdish fighters backed by US warplanes pressed their counter-offensive against jihadists after retaking Iraq's largest dam alongside federal forces, while the US and Britain stepped up their military involvement. The paper says the recapture of Mosul Dam marks the biggest prize yet clawed back from Islamic State jihadists since they launched a major offensive. And finally, the Washington Post reports that Palestinian and Israeli negotiators in Cairo resumed indirect talks, trying to hammer out a roadmap for the war-torn Gaza Strip after Egypt announced a 24-hour extension of the ceasefire to allow more time for negotiations. The paper says the extension of the truce fanned hopes of an emerging deal, however vague, though wide gaps remain on key issues, including Israel's blockade of Gaza. And for more updates, please visit Levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.